In this video, I'm going to compare Boquete, Panama to La Fortuna in Costa Rica. Boquete and La Fortuna are both in the middle of the country, surrounded by greenery, jungles, volcanoes, waterfalls. They're both very, very similar. Why am I comparing these two places? Well, they're both inland. They have a similar population. Boquete in 2023 had 23,000 people, and La Fortuna had a little over 19,000. So it's very similar in comparison. Other websites say the Boquete is double, but I Googled this and it was very similar. Both have massive volcanoes not far from them. So Boquete has Volcan Baru, which is the highest point in all of Panama. And La Fortuna has Arenal. So a lot of people call La Fortuna Arenal. Both offer tons to do, ziplining adventures, chocolate tours, coffee tours, and all. So which place is cheaper? So I did a lot of research on this to give you an informed answer. So my findings were interesting. I checked out many different websites, and a lot of these different websites all had a similar answer. Boquete is around $54 a day, and La Fortuna is up over 100 right now. This is based on single occupancy, food, and things to do. So in this guide, I'm gonna break these down, I'm gonna compare and allow you to make the informed decision. Also, with the increased colones, which is the currency that they use in Costa Rica, there's been a heavy increase and it's gotten to be a lot more expensive in Costa Rica. Okay, so back when I used to live in Costa Rica, it used to be about 700 colones to $1. And now today it's 523. So things have gotten to be a lot more expensive in Costa Rica. Okay, so first I'm gonna break down accommodation. You've got hotels and you've got hostels. First I'm gonna do hostels because it's a cheaper option and it's based on single occupancy. Now I'm filming in Salina, Boquete, so it only made sense to compare Salina in Boquete to Salina in La Fortuna. And I also wanted to book 3 days instead of booking 1 day, because obviously things are gonna fluctuate weekends versus weekdays. So booking 3 days in La Fortuna was $248 US, and booking 3 days in Boquete was $174. So I went onto Expedia, and the average price that I saw for Boquete was about $120 to $150. And the average price for La Fortuna, keep in mind they've got a lot higher end accommodations. La Fortuna for the average hotel was around the same, but they have a lot more expensive options. So now I'm gonna break down transportation because it's all about getting around. So I'm a solo traveler. Usually I do comparisons with taxis and Ubers. Bus transportation, I just never really take because I have a lot of expensive camera gear. So a taxi or an Uber in Boquete, well, there is no Uber in Boquete, there's only taxis. The taxis are $2 to $3. I've gone from one edge of the town to the other, and it's never really been over $2 to $3. In La Fortuna, keep in mind, La Fortuna is a lot more spread out. It was about $15 to $20. For food, I'm gonna compare the best to the best. So last night in Boquete, I went to a place called The Rock. It was probably the best food I've ever had in Panama. For a 3-course meal and 2 Negronis, because I love Negronis, the bill came to $57. And then of course I added a tip. In La Fortuna, I went to Don Rufino's. Awesome, it's very highly rated. It's considered like fine dining, which is something similar to The Rock. I had pretty much identical meal. So 3-course meal, 2 cocktails, came to 52,000 colones, which in US dollars, that's about $100 US. Okay, so now I'm gonna break down things to do because there is a lot. Okay, so if you wanna skip the line, the La Fortuna waterfall, it's gonna cost you 20 bucks. And if you wanna do the Arenal observation trails, it's gonna cost you 29 bucks. And if you wanna do the wildlife rescue tour, because why not, you're in La Fortuna, it's gonna cost you 35 bucks. Now in Boquete, if you want to do the Boquete tree trek, which has zip lining, they call it canopy, and hanging bridges, which is very, very worth it, it's going to cost you 30 bucks. Then there's the Lost Waterfalls hike. Awesome. Again, it only costs 10 bucks. And last but not least, you gotta check out Alita Estate. It's part of a Panamanian family that's very, very well known in the coffee industry. They have many, many high-end coffee shops in Panama City, actually one in Casco Viejo called Sisu. Now that coffee tour is a little bit more expensive. It ranges from $30 to $75. but it's a must if you're in Boquete. So Boquete and La Fortuna have chocolate tours, so many things to do. But what I've found is La Fortuna has a lot more, but with a lot more comes competition, and competition gets things become a little bit more expensive. Okay, so breaking down everything, what I noticed was in Boquete, I noticed quite a few spots that had English menus. I don't even really feel like I'm in Panama anymore. People ask me all the time, do I need to know Spanish? Maybe for La Fortuna, but you can get away with just English. In Boquete, English is no problem. Many different menus in English, which was very surprising. So now I'm going to compare real estate. Real estate in Boquete became really, really popular with the release of Valle Escondido, which I've released a few videos up here. That was built about 15, 20 years ago, and because of that, that's had an influx of expats coming to Boquete. Now in La Fortuna, they've got the classic Costa Rican architecture, which I really, really like. They have a lot of modern looking homes, but the prices for the two were actually very similar. The luxury was very on par with Valle Escondido, and the average 250K was there for both areas. Now, if you guys have any other questions, or you want me to compare something else, like another area, please let me know in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel and watch the next comparison.